Hello, my name is Jerry Silverman, and I'm a Principal Solutions Consultant here at Adobe Systems Federal. This presentation will cover the process of packaging Creative Cloud applications for customers of the United States government, whose desktop computing solutions are located in an offline or secure environment. This presentation was recorded for release on January 15th, 2015, so please keep that in mind as Adobe's product offerings, policies, and versioning do evolve over time. To download a PDF of this presentation, please refer to the URL listed here. Our agenda for this video is to review several licensing types that are specific to Adobe's government customers, review the tools made available by the Adobe deployment team for IT administrators, review several methods for tracking deployed software and controlling updates, discuss technology for managing software inventory and maintaining compliance, and examine best practices for troubleshooting and finding the resources you need. First, let's review the licensing types that are specific to Adobe's government customers. To do this, let's define what Adobe's Creative Cloud actually is. The Creative Cloud consists primarily of desktop applications that are installed locally on end-user machines. Applications like Photoshop, Illustrator, Dreamweaver, and Premiere Pro are among the most popular applications, and there are over 15 available applications. The Creative Cloud is available via subscription only, which includes all updates and patches to the applications during the course of the subscription. Included with the Creative Cloud are a number of deployment tools for IT, dedicated technical support, and expert services to assist end users with learning best practices. There are two types of deployment available for Creative Cloud. Most Creative Cloud license offerings require that end users have internet access, administrative privileges to install software on their desktops, and a user account that is identified by Adobe for license activation purposes. These license offerings use a deployment method known as named user deployment, in which a dashboard console is available for IT administrators to provision user accounts, provide access to software and services, and track deployment packages. For large enterprises who desire to integrate their corporate identity services with administration of user accounts, and who desire to constrict end-user access to Adobe's file storage and services, Adobe's enterprise offering provides these capabilities. However, for user populations in the government, whose desktop environments do not allow internet access or administrative privileges, Adobe offers Creative Cloud license types that allow for serial number deployment. With serial number deployment, desktop applications are deployed in a licensed state, require no end-user login, and provide no end-user access to Adobe's file storage and services. This is the only deployment method available for customers in offline or secure facilities, and is therefore the only method we'll discuss right now. Serial number deployment is available via several license offerings. The first offering is Creative Cloud Desktop Apps, which is a license type specifically created for small groups who work in offline and secure environments and who only need access to the desktop applications without services, storage, or user-initiated updates. Licenses may be purchased through Adobe's government-authorized reseller channel via a CLP for government agencies. Creative Cloud for Teams is for small to medium-sized businesses whose end users have administrative privileges and internet access. Licenses may be purchased through a reseller or through Adobe's website, and a user list is maintained via an admin console Adobe provides for IT administrators. Creative Cloud for Enterprise is Adobe's offering for large organizations, many of which have unique needs. This offering is negotiated directly with Adobe and fulfilled through resellers. CC Enterprise allows IT to decide their deployment method and can currently, as of winter 2015, allow deployment using an Enterprise ID method that Adobe hosts. To recap, for government agencies who need to deploy CC desktop software using serial number deployment, there are two license offerings: CC Desktop Apps for Government and CC Enterprise. For more information on the differences between Adobe's different offerings for government, please see the website link here. Now that we've examined Adobe's Creative Cloud offerings for government, let's take a look at the deployment tools available for IT. The most important tool for IT admins will be the Creative Cloud Packager, or CCP. CCP is used to convert Adobe's proprietary installers to standard installers for Windows or Mac. Please note that IT administrators require internet access to use CCP. It can package either point products, for example Photoshop, or any of the supported Creative Cloud apps. IT admins can use CCP to keep their existing deployment packages up to date by adding the latest updates and apps. Unlike Adobe's previous packaging tools, CCP downloads the software for you in a variety of supported languages. CCP can also be used to package some non-Creative Cloud applications, such as Adobe Captivate and others. Here's a flowchart of the typical deployment and update management process for customers whose users are behind a secure or offline firewall. First, IT administrators with internet access download CCP and CC apps and updates from Adobe, enter the serial number into CCP, and create packages for offline deployment. Those packages can then be brought behind the firewall. Then those packages can be installed remotely and silently via enterprise deployment tools like SCCM, or can be delivered and installed via internal customer portals or even Sneakernet if necessary. For updates, IT can package the latest patches using CCP and deploy them using the methods outlined above, or they can optionally stand up an internal Adobe update server behind the firewall that can reach out to Adobe servers to download periodic updates. The workflow for IT administrators wishing to package and deploy their initial software packages is as follows. Download the packaging tool and the serial number from the Adobe licensing website. The Creative Cloud Packager downloads software and updates for you, so you no longer need to find the software on LWS. You then package the software using CCP and deploy those packages into your environment. The first step is to log into the Adobe licensing website to obtain your serial number and the Creative Cloud Packager software. Next, you'll click the options to grab your serial number and download CCP. On the serial number screen, you may need to enter your deploy to ID and then click search. LWS will then display the serial numbers for your products. You may see two different serial numbers, likely labeled video and non-video. If you create a package containing one of the products listed on this slide, you should use the video serial number. If your package does not contain a video product, please use a non-video serial number. You'll need to download the Creative Cloud Packager and install it. From LWS, you will download a launcher application which will install the Creative Cloud Packager for you. You'll need a Mac version to package Mac software and a Windows version to package Windows software. On the Windows side, we recommend a 64-bit OS. Please note, if you have already downloaded and installed an older version of the Creative Cloud Packager, you will be prompted to update to the current version of CCP. If you are able to download the CCP installer app but cannot get the complete application installed, your organization may be blocking the URL needed to download the installer. Consult the troubleshooting guide later in this video. After installation, you will need to accept the license agreement. Then, you will select the second choice below for CCE or CCDA. You'll be prompted to log in with an administrative Adobe ID that has been provisioned to your organization. Please note, you will need to be online with internet access to log into and use the CC Packager. On this greeting screen, you'll be given options to create a package, edit a package, or create a license file, which can help with reserialization after a subscription has lapsed. In this example, we're going to create a new package. Give the package a name and choose the save location for the package. Choose serial number license type from the drop-down menu. Again, the named license method is only available for environments in which end users have internet access and administrative privileges, so it's not relevant to our discussion here. For serial number deployment, the first checkbox listed under package configurations will be unchecked or grayed out by default. It should remain unchecked or grayed out for the rest of the process. For offline deployment, you should also manually uncheck the checkbox for applications and updates via the apps panel. You can click the package configuration link to get some advanced options. By default, CCP turns off the ability for end users to update the software on their own and presumes that IT will manage the update process. You may optionally control the update process using your own internal update server. In that case, you would select Use Internal Update Server and provide an XML file that we will discuss shortly. You would also make sure to enable the Remote Update Manager deployment, which will allow clients to connect to the internal update server. More on this in a moment. For Windows users, you will need to choose whether to create a 32-bit or 64-bit package. Please note that some CC apps are only available in 64-bit versions. Please consult the CC system requirements for full documentation. Enter the serial number you obtained from LWS, and then click the Next button. Select the package language. Using the Creative Cloud Packager, you can package the software in any supported language. Note that your contract with Adobe specifies which language versions your organization is entitled to use. For each language needed, you will need to create a separate package. Next, you'll select the software to package. Simply click the checkbox next to the application you need. If you enable Show Archived Versions, CCP will also show you previous versions of applications, such as CS6. Once IT goes through the build process, the software installers are cached on the IT administrator's machine, so future downloads are streamlined. An arrow with a green check mark indicates that the product is fully downloaded and ready to package. An arrow with a partial circle indicates that the product is partially downloaded and that additional updates are available. If you have already deployed Creative Cloud apps, you may in the future wish to deploy an update. To select select specific app updates to package for deployment, twirl down the arrow for the app in question. It is worth noting that all patches for Creative Cloud apps are cumulative. If you twirl down the arrow next to the app, you will see all of the updates which are available for that app. When you do so, simply deselect the app itself, in this case Photoshop, and select all of its updates. Then, deselect the checkbox next to the application to create an update-only package. Once you've selected all of the apps and updates, you are ready to package. Click the Build button to begin the build process. When the process completes, you will see the summary screen. This process may take some time to download the software. Please take note of some of the collected best practices here, including a comprehensive list of current and archived installer sizes. Let's take a look at the result of the process. You'll see a build folder and possibly an exceptions folder. Exceptions require additional steps to deploy to end-user workstations. The build folder contains the installer file and the Adobe software which is now ready to push down to your users. This will include an MSI file for Windows or a PKG file for Mac. Note that a setup.exe file is created for Windows and may be used to manually install the application by copying the entire build folder to a thumb drive, optical media, or network share. The exceptions folder contains software which cannot be packaged by the Creative Cloud Packager. One example of this is Adobe Muse CC 2014. You can double-click the exception info.txt file for more details about how to package the exception. Also included is the exceptions deployer application, which is a tool to help you deploy the exceptions to client machines. The Creative Cloud Packager also has some preferences you can control. CCP caches downloads. You can set your preferred download folder or purge the download cache to save disk space. I already mentioned that CCP may create an exceptions folder. The exceptions folder contains items that need additional steps to deploy. On Windows, Acrobat is an exception. For most customers, this isn't a big issue, as you most likely have already packaged Acrobat to your organization's needs using the Adobe Acrobat customization wizard with a separate Acrobat serial number. If you want to serialize Acrobat with Creative Cloud Packager, it must be installed before the rest of the CC applications. When the CC installer runs, it will serialize Acrobat. You may customize Acrobat further using the Acrobat customization wizard without entering a serial number inside the tool. Please note that Muse 2014 on Windows is another example of an exception. Please see all the relevant notes at the URL below. For more information about packaging Acrobat, visit the Acrobat Enterprise Toolkit page at the URL below. Let's take a moment to discuss offline media workflows for Creative Cloud licensees. For CC customers in government whose contracts require DVD fulfillment of software, and for IT admins in scenarios which large downloads pose connectivity problems, Adobe provides DVD media containing software which has not yet been serialized or activated. Software delivered by Adobe on DVD will not be immediately deployable on a secure offline network directly off the disk. Packaging the DVD-based installer with CCP online will be required in order to create an installer that can be deployed offline. Please note that each contract is entitled to a single disk set, and disks containing updates will be shipped semi-annually by request only. Each DVD set will contain all CC applications and not individual products. Again, it's worth noting that IT will still require an internet connection to validate their license, and some additional components may also need to be downloaded during the build process. The following is a walkthrough of the process of loading DVD media into the Creative Cloud Packager. On the Applications and Updates screen of CCP, click the Offline Media button. Then, click the folder icon to locate your DVD or extracted installers. Select the root folder for the product you'd like to package. Click the Extract button, and then click Done. We've now looked at the Creative Cloud Packager and the Acrobat Customization Wizard for packaging software. Now let's review some of the methods for updating CC applications in offline environments and tracking deployment packages. You can keep up with the latest updates that Adobe provides via our Creative Cloud Enterprise Update blog listed here. Adobe also provides a number of command line utilities alongside CC Packager. These utilities are co-installed with CCP, and above are the paths to the installations so that you can find them. The Exceptions Deployer application helps you package items that CCP cannot directly package. The Remote Update Manager, or RUM, is a command line tool that allows IT administrators to remotely send updates to their users. The Adobe Update Server Setup tool is used to configure an in-house update server, and the Adobe Provisioning Toolkit allows you to serialize or reserialize CC software after you install it. If packaging updates sounds like a lot of work, there are some workflows you can use to lessen lessen the burden. IT might consider standing up an in-house Adobe update server in your environment and using the remote update manager on clients to invoke the update process from that local server. The update server runs on an Apache or IIS server that already exists inside of your environment. Like the Adobe Application Manager, the internal Adobe Update Server checks every day at 2 a.m. for updates from Adobe's cloud and pulls them down. Then, at a time of your choosing, you flip the switch by making a command line request to the client machines, which then download and install the updates from the internal Adobe Update Server. In this way, all update traffic is kept within your corporate firewall. Let's briefly discuss the syntax for using the Remote Update Manager, or RUM. In order to use RUM, you will need to be able to send a message to client workstations. Displayed here is the syntax for that message, as well as the description of each parameter. RUM does support proxy pack, and you can call the Remote Update Manager to make it active. By default, RUM applies all the updates available to products installed on the workstation. However, you can call individual product updates by appending a channel ID to the command. For a list of the channel IDs for each product, see the channel ID list link in the table on this page. To create the internal update server, you'll use the Adobe Update Server Setup Tools, or AUSST. AUSST outputs an XML file that you can embed into your packages using the CC Packager. The file points the clients to the local server instead of Adobe's update server on the web. AUSST will work with most internal Apache servers that you already have in place, so there's no need to buy additional hardware. As we mentioned earlier, even for IT environments where end users are offline, IT still must build serial number packages with online tools like CC Packager before deploying into their offline environment. For CC Enterprise licensees, the Adobe Enterprise Dashboard is another tool that has some advantages for IT administrators using serial number deployment. Here's a screen capture of the Adobe Enterprise Dashboard's deployment section. From here, it is possible to track information about packages that you have created. This can help you better understand what you have packaged and what may need to be updated. The package name, which was entered in the Creative Cloud Packager, will be listed on the Packages tab of the Deployment section. Here, you can see the package platform, who created it, when the package was created, and if any updates are currently available. You can twirl down on package name to see more details, such as the language, license type, package contents, and package ID, otherwise known as the GUID. These details can be extremely helpful to IT in logging and keeping track of packaging and deployment history. We've just reviewed how to redirect Creative Cloud updates to an internal Adobe Update Server and how to track packages more efficiently. Let's now look at methods for ensuring software compliance and maintaining accurate license counts. When we discussed the Creative Cloud Packager earlier, you might have noticed that all of the applications were listed there. The CC Packager is just a packaging tool. It is not a reflection of your organization's software entitlements. Your IT organization can track the deployment of your CC entitlements through the use of SWID tags. SWID tags are an XML-based ISO standard for identifying software. Indeed, when you use CCP, it writes a rather generic tag signifying the license type without specific package content information. While that's helpful, it probably isn't enough information, because many of our Creative Cloud customers may contractually limit the entitlements to subsets of the applications. For example, you may limit part of what you license to Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and Acrobat, products which were formerly part of Creative Suite Design Standard. Unfortunately, the current SWID tag structure might not give you enough information. On Windows, a solution may be to look at the reg keys on the destination computer. When you use CCP, it also writes the package name and source folder to the registry. The display name is the name of the package, and the install source is the folder from which the product was installed. So then, by carefully naming your install packages, you can query and count your installs. Adobe's suggestion is to call each package a descriptive name. Many of the app icons for our products, with the exception of Acrobat, are composed of two initials which are descriptive. For example, AI is Adobe Illustrator, ID is InDesign, and so on. In this first example, I'll call the package CC Design Standard AC-AI-ID-PS. This name includes both the entitlement name, Design Standard, and the names of the individual apps. Similarly, here's one for Design and Web Premium. It may be that for some user groups, you don't actually want to package all of the apps to which you're entitled. In that case, you still want to name with the entitlement name, but I suggest only listing the individual products included in that package. Finally, one topic frequently asked by government agencies surrounds virtualization, or the capability of deploying CC applications in a VDI environment. While Adobe does test some of its desktop applications for basic functionality in VDIs, such as opening and closing files, many of our products rely on local CPU, GPU, and RAM resources to work effectively, which can render virtualization difficult and result in throughput errors. It's highly recommended to test trial CC software inside your specific environment before committing time, money, and resources in deploying. Also, your licensing and IT teams should thoroughly understand the end-user license agreement and its stipulations around guest OS installations and server-based uses. Finally, tech support for virtual environments is offered on a best effort basis and should be conducted in parallel with your virtualization vendor. For Adobe's official guidelines and support boundaries for virtualization, please see the URL below. We just shared our thoughts on counting, compliance, and virtualization. Deployment doesn't always go smoothly, and you will probably also want to have access to documentation and troubleshooting resources. Let's cover that now. The Creative Cloud Packager needs access to certain ports to download the software, check licenses, and to activate. Please note that CCP does support proxy pack files. Please note that these ports only need to be open for the IT administrator. End users do not require these ports to be open. If you can't get the Creative Cloud Packager to run, or the application reports errors when you use it, checking out log files can help you find the problem. If Creative Cloud Packager won't run at all, you might want to take a look at the PDF app.log file. You can find the locations for this file listed here for Windows and for Mac. If the Creative Cloud Packager runs, but reports errors, you'll want to take a look at the log file for the Creative Cloud Packager. If you open this file in a text editor, you can look through it fairly easily, and you'll likely be able to find an error code listed. Once you find the error code, go to the URL listed here and do a find in your browser. Here are some white papers to help you with the packaging. These resources are constantly maintained, updated, and refreshed at the URL below. Here are some more resources to help you with packaging. That completes our overview of packaging, deploying, updating, and tracking Adobe CC applications for clients in offline or secure environments. We hope this information has been helpful, and thanks so much for watching.